Hey everybody, how you doing? Glad you're joining me today. So in this video, I would love to show you my modifications to my Bushcraft tool roll. If you follow my channel for any time, you know I love to make things, and you can't make things without tools. So whenever I go camping, I usually take some tools with me. This tool roll would be great for if you're a bushcrafter. You could use it around the house. You could use it camping, primitive camping, or tent camping, or camper camping, or just a multitude of use. So yeah, so here's my tool roll, and let me reposition the camera, and I'll lay it out, and we'll go through all the contents that I have in here. Okay, so here we have my Bushcraft tool roll, and I want to take my time and go through everything in here and explain why I have it in here. I made this canvas tool roll, I don't know, I think it was like 4 or 5 months ago. And I sewed it up. I put grommets on the top corner so that you can hang it. And then I have a grommet here on the side with just a piece of leather thong to roll it up and tie it. And let's see, I'll start down here at this end. I have a little small ruler, and I put a little lanyard on it so that all these things I kind of marked them. If you spend any time out in the woods working on things, and you might know that it's easy to lose stuff when you drop it in the leaves and the grass if it blends in. So anything you have on your tools that might make it stand out in case it gets misplaced, in the woods. Make it a little bit easier to find. So there we have just a standard ruler, and then I have a carpenter's pencil, small carpenter's pencil, obviously for cutting, marking, that type of thing. And then in this next pouch, I should say this is leather that I sewed on, thin leather onto this old piece of canvas that I had. Here's a pair of pruning shears I made a long time ago, and I used aluminum rod, solid aluminum rod for the handles on it, and these are really handy. I've got them in here because I do have some wire, and they're great for cutting the wire, but also you could use these for collecting tinder, small branches. You could cut off real easy with it for getting a fire started. You could use them as scissors. They cut paper just fine. Multitude of things, but I don't think this is an item that's commonly found in a Bushcraft tool roll, but in mine, I just love having it, and it works really well and comes in handy for a lot of different things. So we have that. We'll set there. Then I have just some cordage. I think this is about maybe 20 feet of cordage that, for shelter building, or it's handy for a multitude of things when you're out there. I have a short ceramic rod for sharpening. Any of the sharp tools that I have in here, this comes in handy for touching up the edges on them. And then in this next one here, this is my emergency repair sewing kit that I made. And it's just a walnut handle that I turned on my lathe, and then it has a stainless steel sewing awl that I made, and that was a fun hole to drill, let me tell you, in this piece of stainless. And then I heat treated it, and then it has about 20 feet of wax coated sail twine wrapped around the handle, and then the tip protector is actually an eraser, so that's handy if you're using this thing and you make a mistake. You can use this to erase it, but it also protects the pouch from getting poked through by the sewing awl that I have in here that I made. And then I have just a little wooden stick with a bunch of this 22 gauge floral wire. Yeah, I think this is used by florists for tying up plants and things, flowers, and putting bundles together and stuff like that. But yeah, I came across it at a thrift store, and I thought that would be really handy for, you know, building furniture, shelter, multitude of things you could use wire for. Like I said, I have these for cutting it, so I have that in there. And then I have a smaller knife I made that is an ideal carving knife, actually. This would be great for finer detail work, carving, whittling. You could make feather sticks, you know, do all kinds of stuff with it. It's a stainless steel blade in a leather sheath, and I just keep that slipped in there. So there's that. And then I have a variety of sandpapers. These were actually sanding belts that I tore up, and I've got a bunch of them because I had a big problem with my sanding belts breaking at the seams. I bought a whole set of them. I won't mention the company I bought them from, but I'd been buying grinding disc sanding belts from them for years, and I bought a big batch, and then in the extreme heat in the area where I live, the heat was breaking down the bonding agent that they were using to seam the belts with, and every belt I put in brand new would just pop apart. And so I contacted the company and to see if I could send them all back, because I had a pretty sizable batch, and I wanted to send them back and see if they could re-seam them for me. And they said no, that they couldn't do that, and just tear them up and use them as hand sanding pieces. So that's what I did. So I've got a lot of that kind of stuff laying around. And then next up, I have a small saw, wireframe saw, and I have 2 blades for it. And this is handy because these blades can actually cut wood or metal. You can cut metal with these. So if you came in a situation where, I don't know, you found some nails and long nails, 16 penny nails or something, and you wanted to cut them and stretch them out and make shorter nails, or, I mean, just use your imagination what you could use. But you could use this for finer tasks, for cutting wood, little notches in wood or whatever, you know, or you could use it for any metal too that you might. And it's lightweight, you know, it's pretty sturdy little saw. I've had that for years. And then next up here, there we go, I put some tape around it. This, if you dropped it in the woods, would be pretty easy to get lost. So just that little piece of red electrical tape might help it stand out a little bit. But this thing right here started its life as a long, heavy-duty screwdriver. And I don't know if the handle broke or I decided I needed a long chisel, so I made this, and then I made a little leather protector here for it so that it won't cut through my pouch, you know. But that's handy. I don't have a hammer in here or anything like that, but you can always find a rock or something you could use if you needed to. And the handle's long enough you could actually put your glove on and use it and chisel it without it having a handle. The handle would just make it bulkier in this kit, so I opted to just leave it like that. But yeah, chisel comes in handy, you know, out in the woods and when you're building things. All right, so next up I have another saw, but this is just a wood cutting saw that I made a long time ago. And the blade is just a reciprocating saw blade. It's a pruning blade, very aggressive teeth. Yeah, it's only 5 teeth per inch on this, so it's very aggressive. But you could use this for anything you can use a saw for, you know, when you're building a shelter or processing firewood or whatever. I just wanted to make it compact, so this is just a piece of PVC pipe that I cut and used a heat gun, flattened it out, folded it to this thickness of this blade, and then I just used a Chicago bolt here to put it in. And then I put I'm looking at it because I can't remember even how I made this, but I've got some kind of metal here in the end. I don't know if it's aluminum or stainless, and then a pin holding that in so that there's a positive stop for it, just because it's plastic, the handle's plastic. So that makes it, and it's pretty stiff. I mean, I've used it a couple of times and it does an all right job. And then I just put a piece of, on the end here, a piece of metal in here, and then a grommet, a piece of pipe that I flared on both sides for a grommet. And then I heated it up, or I used something, I can't even remember, but to kind of stipple this so that it's got more of a grip, it's not so slick. And that's what that stuff is right there. Okay, so a little folding saw I made. It's very compact, very thin, very lightweight. Gets the job done. It's not the most comfortable thing to use, but it does work and it gets the job done. So I've got that in there. And then here we have my auger. This I made, and I did a video on this earlier, here way back, but there hasn't been very many views on it. So I'll go through it again and explain it. But I have two bits there. Again, I marked these, so if they get lost and dropped, they kind of stand out a little. These are just your regular auger bits. I've got a piece of rubber cork that I put on the tips there just to protect them so they don't poke through the bag. You can, there's Scotch-eyed augers and all kinds of different augers, but I have a lot of these bits already and I still use these all the time. And rather than cut the shanks off and weld a ring on them or anything like that, this is based on a very, very old tool. I think in the latter part of the 1800s, there was Miller's Falls, or one of the big manufacturers, was making these very similar to this. I saw it, so I just set out to kind of replicate that. But I made it to where it has a bigger hole on this side, smaller hole on this side, because these shanks come in different sizes. As you can see between these two, one's bigger than the other. This one here, let's see, it's a 15, so that's 15/16. If you come across any of these and you're not aware, they're all marked in 16ths. So if you get 16ths, if you get a number 16, that's a 1 inch. That's 16/16. This is a 15/16. Let's see what this one is. This is an 8/16. So that would be a 1/2 inch. And yeah, this one's Snell Manufacturing Company, Fiskdale, Massachusetts, made in the USA. That's an old bit, but yeah, I still use these all the time. Yeah, they just slip in here, and then you use the knurled nuts. I have springs in here. Actually, I'll take it apart, kind of show you. So here it is apart. I've got some springs in here, and that just helps keep the jaw separated when you're putting it together. I marked this so that I can get these pieces back together correctly at a glance real quick. So, and these are just pieces of stainless steel pipe that I drilled and cut grooves in. Okay, so and where did the other bolt go? There it is. And you slip those in there, and then this one goes in here like this. And then I really should put some longer bolts in this. These are just barely long enough. I don't have a whole lot of thread when I get it. But yeah, you just take your bit, slip it in there, tighten this up, and there it is. There's your auger. Yeah, real handy to have. So yeah, you can see as I open up, loosen it up. You can see the jaws separating. And then closing up when you tighten it, just because I have the springs in there. And yeah, the handle I just turned on my lathe out of a piece of poplar. And so it makes a really nice handy auger to take out with you to bore holes and build things when you're out and about. Yeah, and so here's a shot of everything that I have in my tool roll. And there it is. All right, everybody, this is Dave. I appreciate it. Thanks for taking a look at my Bushcraft tool roll, and we'll see you in the next one.